faces on there. All right. Do you have everybody on there live streaming it?
We're getting there.
Okay.
There we are.
I'm going to be the very next Anna Billabong. That's what I want to be. I'm going to tell them. I want to be the Anna Billabong of Northwest Indiana, and I need WGN to bring out a camera crew for me so I can go to different businesses and do shit. Oops. I mean poop. What?
Oh, we're on.
We're on?
Yep.
What?
Yep, we are. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, hello, everybody.
just
We're going to
chugging
start a
my
little
lavender
bit early
lemonade.
today because we've got a very important guest. Yeah, big
Yes,
time.
I think.
Sean Lewis, kind of a neat
Absolutely. Very
guest.
nice guy.
Really nice guy. Known Sean for a couple of years. He actually, I kind of handed him a story once when early on in his career about the 9/11 in Chicago. But hello, everybody.
You mean 911. Not
911. I
Yeah.
said 911.
You said 9/11, and I
911.
always associate 9/11 with other things.
911.
Yes.
And yeah. Okay. So we're going to wait for him to call in.
Right.
But in the meantime, we're going to do our usual stuff. We're going to go ahead and get the weather out of the way because I didn't want Sean to confuse me with Tom freaking Skilling.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because you guys look so alike.
Why? Sure we do.
Yes, well, of course.
Okay, so let's get at the weather here. And let me make sure we're good to go. Yep, we're good to go. And let's get to the weather. All right, here's what we're lining up for. This afternoon, you probably already see the clouds, some clouds rolling in. We're probably going to likely get some scattered showers and thunderstorms. And again, I have to say likely. It's still a high percentage, about 50 to 60%. And those are going to be in the afternoon and evening. And as we roll into tomorrow, then the high pressure area that's coming into our area from the north is going to push that low pressure area, as I'll show you in the graphics to follow. And then we're going to end up with actually a pretty nice day tomorrow. It's going to be partially sunny, mostly sunny, I should say. Some clouds, some residue left over from what we're going to go through tonight. But get ready because it is going to ramp up to some nasty heat. The heat index is going to be approaching 100 or better. And the high is going to be about 93 all weekend. So let's look at some of the reasonings behind all what's going on here. So here's our first USA map showing right now where we're sitting at today. We've got somewhat of a chance of rain this afternoon. Like I said, about 50 to 60%. We are probably more than likely going to see some scattered showers throughout the Chicago area. So we're going to have to deal with that, but it's not going to last very long. Let's look at Friday. As Friday, you can see that high front moves in, pushes that weather out, low pressure area to the southeast, and that gets pushed off. And then let's take a look.
Florida just keeps being surrounded by guacamole.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
they
It's
probably
on
have
the
a good supply of
outskirts.
chips.
Well, I'm sure
So-
they do.
and
now
then
they're covered.
Saturday, yeah, but that's still a possibility. You see the light green
Oh, I
area,
know.
the light guacamole,
Yes, I know.
and but we're going to be looking pretty good as far as
Yeah,
no
it's
precipitation, but we are going to have high humidity
Hot,
and
hot,
high
hot, hot,
temperatures. Hot.
It's gonna be hot, hot,
Yeah.
hot.
So
Yeah,
let's
babe.
look at the composite radar for the area right now. And so that is the Great Lakes area. And again, to explain this, this is the Doppler radar's composite image that the National Weather Services does. And so you can see we do have some storms approaching from the south end of the Chicagoland area, going through central Illinois. So more than likely, we will get something out of this. So let's look at it nationally. Nationally, you could see that from afar we do have those storms coming in. But man, talking about the southeast, they look like they're going to get some nasty stuff going on through maybe northern panhandle of Florida and so on.
Yeah, it's like
So-
Alabama, Georgia, all that area is gonna get it.
Right. So that's the weather. And again, just get ready for heat this weekend. And oh gosh, the camera's not used to seeing a close-up of us.
I know. It's freaking out.
I know they want to
I'm freaking
focus on Sean. That's what it
That's
is.
why.
Yeah. So that's the weather, and we're going to be waiting for Sean to call in. So when he calls in, you'll actually hear it live ring and everything. So Kelly, you have some events, right?
I do, but I'm hoping it does not rain tonight because it's my only chance to see Sleeping Beauty from the Highland Parks Department down at Main Square because I'm going to
yeah.
be in Michigan this weekend,
Yeah.
and so please hope rain hold off. All right. We have a lot of fun things coming up. Starting tomorrow, everybody's favorite, the Lake County Fair is beginning, and that goes until Sunday the 12th. I know I'll be going as a former 4-H'er. I have to go to the fair every year, so that'll be lots of fun. Also, tomorrow at between 6 and 10 p.m., Northwest Indiana Parkinson's is having their second annual open house. They will have food, refreshments, games, raffles, dancing, and it is just a free will donation. So you just show up, you make a donation, and you get all this fun for free. It will be at 2927 Jewett Avenue here in Highland. It's for a wonderful cause. The Northwest Indiana Parkinson's organization here is amazing. And you can RSVP to let them know you're coming at 219-237-2342. And again, tomorrow as well, from 4 to 7:30 p.m. is the Highland Rotary Corn Roast here at Main Square Park. They have all-you-can-eat corn. You can get a hot dog and a Polish sausage and a brownie for $8, so that'll be a lot of fun. Plus, it'll be right before the start of Sleeping Beauty at the park, and this is the last weekend, so I suggest everybody get out there. Go head over to the Northwest Indiana Parkinson's, which is just a few buildings down, then walk over, get your corn, have your hot dog, and then watch a great show. This Saturday from 5 to 10:30 p.m. is the Valpo Kiwanis Corn Roast at Urshel Pavilion in Valparaiso. Tickets are $20 for that. $10 and under are free. It's all you can eat corn, a brat or a hot dog, chips, and a soft drink, but they will also have food trucks, a beer and wine garden. And two bands are going to be playing, the Planetary Blues and Southern Accents, which are a renowned Tom Petty tribute band. And also on the 4th, from 7 p.m. until midnight, the Highland High School all-class reunion is going to be happening, and I'm very sad that I'm going to miss it this year. It is always a great time. It's held at the American Legion here in Highland, right off of Ridge Road. It's for 21 and older, so anybody who graduated from Highland High School can get together and have a great time, run into old friends and former classmates. Cost is $10, and there'll be open bar and a band and all kinds of good things going on. Next Thursday night, the 9th, from 7:30 until 10:30 p.m., the Trippin' Billies are going to be playing at Wicker Park Social Center Gazebo in Highland, and they are a renowned Dave Matthews tribute band. Tickets are $7 cash, or you can go to eventbrite.com to get tickets, and that is also for 21 and over. Saturday the 11th from 1 to 6 p.m., the Last Call for Summer event is going on here in Highland at the Main Square Park, and that will include music, food, and craft beer. So it's a way to celebrate the end of the summer. Last call for summer, you know. Also that Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Windmill Brewing is having their 3rd anniversary party. So I guess it is a kind of a last call for alcohol, because we got a craft beer thing at the last call for summer, and we've got the Windmill Brewing's 3rd anniversary party at the Pheasant Hills Park, which is at 2301 Hart Street in Dyer. And also, if you want to see a show, be involved, go to nietf.org. That's NIETF.org. That will let you know what shows are going on in the community theaters in our area, and they're always wonderful. I have so many friends who are involved, and they're all so talented and fabulous and amazing. If you want to get involved, but you don't want to be on stage because you're a little scared of that, or don't want to have to memorize a zillion lines, get involved with helping sell tickets, working the concession stands, helping build sets, working behind the scenes. There's always something for you to do if you want to be involved in a wonderful organization like Native. And that's our events.
I just moved Sean.
You did. You moved him. You wanted him to have a Cali sandwich. Bill on one side, Sean on the other, Cali in the middle. I'm the cream filling in the sandwich.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to tell you about a neat show that we have coming up on Tuesday.
Yes.
Byway Brewery. We're going to be there with some folks that from both the coffee roasting business. Our friends at Small Town
Coffee
Roasting are going to be with us. Also, some old friends of ours, Chuck and Allison Skates from Fluid
As in, we've
Coffee
known them
Bar.
a while, not that they're old. We want to make sure.
No,
we're not calling
they're young.
them old.
They're young kids. They're young kids.
They're
You'll
young.
see.
They're like young like we are.
They're the owners of Fluid Coffee Bar in Valparaiso.
Yep.
Then our studio,
our friend
Sip
from
Coffee
here.
House.
Yes, Anthony will be there.
Who's the
from
general
Sip.
manager of both the
Sip 1 and 2.
Sip 1 and 2, the coffee house in
Crown Point
and the
here
one
in
here
Highland.
that they're gracious enough to let us use as a studio.
That's right.
So
and we have Grindhouse coming.
and then we have Grindhouse from
Grindhouse
Griffith. So we will have 3 coffee houses represented, one coffee roaster, and a brewery
That's right.
represented. So we're going to talk about some neat stuff and not only
collaborations between coffee and beer.
Oh yes,
Some delicious, fabulous, wonderful smelling and tasting collaborations between coffee and beer.
So I mean, it's going to be at noon. So if
That's
it's your lunch break, come out and
come
enjoy
out
it.
to Byway Brewery.
Because they may have some samples, some of the stuff that we're talking about.
No, possible.
And one
Don't
thing
go promising things you can't,
that.
Oh, it looks like we have a call.
Hello,
Hey, it's Sean.
Sean.
Hey, Sean. Good to hear from you.
How you doing, Sean?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Oh, just
Wonderful.
great, just great. We first of all would like to thank you for joining our show, and for those of you, this is Sean Lewis on the phone, and we kind of have an interesting studio here. It's very unlike WGN's TV studio, where we take the Amish route, Sean. So
we have a full catered bar, you see, with high-end liquors, and you guys have coffee, so it's
well, we've got amazing coffee, Sean. So what can we say? We're at Sip Coffee House here in Highland, and they have amazing food and coffee. So
just don't rub it in too much. We're already jealous that you get to work with Tom freaking Skilling.
That's true.
And
well, he is the nicest man on television.
That's what
I've heard two sides of that. But doesn't he periodically threaten to have people killed? Like,
yeah, I did. I have seen that.
That clip, when it went viral, it like blew his socks off because Tom is such an amazingly nice guy, genuinely nice. And Pat Tomasulo is the one who writes all those sketches because he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's a great comedian.
And he likes people to say things that they would never normally say. So that's why, obviously that's why that skit was so funny with Tom, because he would never say that.
I know, it's genius.
So Tom also doesn't chase people down the hallways threatening to kill them, is what you're saying?
Not at his, as he claims to be 66 and just too old for that stuff now. But
oh well,
that's amazing.
But Tom is so nice, and he was, and that thing what's 11 years old, 10 years old now.
Oh yeah,
oh, wow.
11 years old, and it still continues. He will walk down we'll be walking down the street, and people will say, "Tom Skilling, you're gonna have me killed."
But he's known in Chicago as Tom freaking Skilling.
Freaking Skilling,
So
that's right.
Exactly.
He has a new name. So yeah, that we'll get to that in a bit. It's gosh, yeah, but I'm so jealous to get to work with that guy. He's been, oh gosh, I remember him when I was a kid.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
Did you know it's less than 2 weeks now? August 13th, he'll be celebrating 40 years at WGN.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
That's phenomenal.
yeah, yeah, because I still remember him as a kid.
Yeah.
Just staying up waiting for my dad to come home and listen to Tom, and he wasn't called Tom freaking Skilling
No,
back
it was
then,
just Tom Skilling back then, but
thanks to Pat, he has a new name.
that's right.
So
You know, yeah, Dave and Gary used to, what was it? Tommy Skillethead was the character that they would do.
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Steve and Gary, yeah.
Steve and Gary, Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of do a impression of Tom myself, but we won't.
No, we won't get into that.
Everyone,
I don't want-
everyone has, you can give it your best shot. Everyone has their own great impression of Tom.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is, and I don't know if this is staged or not, because it happened right around the same time as the Pat skit. He was answering questions on the air, and you know, people were just writing in, emailing him. I don't know how they were sent, but he was answering questions. And some lady asked him if she can leave her 6-pack of Dr. Pepper out in her car when it was freezing cold out. And Tom went into this diatribe about how the NSF calls him to ask his opinion about climate change, and all of a sudden he's having to answer a question about this lady wanting to know whether she can leave her 6-pack of Dr. Pepper out. And he goes, "I don't know. I guess I'd bring that in if I were you."
That sounds like something that Tom would be asked, first of all, and it
Yeah.
sounds like something Tom would say.
Yeah,
Second.
that was great. That I found just as funny as
Yeah,
that
whenever
skit.
Paul Conrad does those call-ins and the text message things and they all get together and do that, it's just
But it's hilarious. You know, the
Wonderful.
NSF asked my opinion about climate control, and someone wants to know if they need to have their 6-pack of Dr. Pepper brought in. I don't know. So, well, anyway, shall we go on? Well, listen, we want to find more about you. You know, you and I interacted. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember when that was. And I just had a dreadful experience. I was with someone that had a medical emergency, and we were downtown Chicago, and I can't divulge more than that, but I was making repeated calls to 911, and they would fail. They would say, "Okay, let me transfer you," and boom. And this is just not me. It was people walking by, tried the same thing, and boy, I was just on a mission after that happened. I said,
Yeah.
"This has got to be discussed," and that's when, actually, I've got to share this with folks. I was Facebook friends with several anchors at that time, and I actually ended up calling some stations in Chicago, and Sean was the only one that actually responded and said, "Yeah, we've been hearing stuff about that," and I think you, if I remember correctly, beat him to the punch. You were the first one to bring that story out, which needed to. That was crazy, and you know, so we'll talk about that later. But I just want to share with folks how I knew you, and I want to tell you, you responded right away and said, "Yeah, that's we've heard something about going on," and next thing you know, the next day, it was on the air. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, for those of us who don't know where you're from, where you're raised, where you went to school, and actually just,
how you ended up at WGN, baby.
or we should say, working with Tom Skilling.
That's right.
Working at Tom's station, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was born in my mom was raised in Kenosha. My dad was raised in Sheboygan. They met at a wedding. He was best man. She was maid of honor. And they met at this
that's so
wedding. I
romantic.
know.
Cool.
I know, exactly, right? It's it's like West Side Story, but with Wisconsin accents.
Yeah.
And so they met. So they fell in love. They got married. Was born in Sheboygan, but when I was 9 months old, moved back to Kenosha, and I was raised in Kenosha. Grew up watching. Kenosha was interesting at the time because we didn't have cable in Kenosha for years and years and years. Because of our proximity to both Milwaukee and Chicago, we got both we got both stations from both cities in Kenosha to watch. So I grew up watching Tom, and I grew up watching Steve Sanders and Bob Jordan and, Joel Daly.
Oh, Joe
And
Daly, yes.
It was, I grew up watching Chicago and Milwaukee news. I'd bounce back and forth because I was one of those 7-8-year-old kids who was a big nerd about about news, because my aunt was actually in TV news. That's kind of how I got interested in the business. But so I grew up in Wisconsin. I went to school at both UW La Crosse, and I finished up at UW Milwaukee, and interned in Milwaukee and Minneapolis. And it's one of those, it's one of those businesses where it's about who you know and what the timing is. I was in Minneapolis visiting the people I worked with on the assignment desk there, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for a job." So one of the guys who was on the assignment desk happened to be talking to the news director at the same affiliate station, but in Fargo, North Dakota, and said, "Hey, I have this guy here, a good guy. He was one of our interns. Are you looking for anyone?" He goes, "Yeah, we're looking for a reporter." So I drove up there 4 hours from Minneapolis to Fargo, North Dakota, my first time ever there. Talked with the news director for, I don't know, probably 3-4 hours. And the next day he offered me a job. So it was 2 weeks after I graduated from college, and I had my
That's
first job
awesome.
at TV.
Yeah, so I mean, people have long stories about how they get into the business, and that is awesome. As usually they're interning somewhere for a while. So I mean, that was a jump right from college, and you're right in front of the camera.
I was at Fargo's not a huge market. It's for people who don't know about television markets, there's, I believe, 211 TV markets in the country.
Wow.
New York is number 1, LA's number 2, Chicago's number 3, Philly, and then Dallas. Those are the top 5. The second to last one is North Platte, Nebraska. That's where my aunt actually got her start. And Glendive, Montana is number 211. So Fargo's right in the middle there. It was 112 when I first started. And the nice thing about Fargo, though, is that it's kind of isolated. It's the major area within four hours of any other major metropolitan area like Minneapolis, St. Paul. So they had a lot of stuff that normally cities that are 250,000 people wouldn't have.
Right.
Well, that's still an awesome start. I mean, look at me.
It's a great start.
Yeah. Actually, it was funny. You had asked me previous about my most scary story, and probably one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me is we were sent out to this area in rural Minnesota, like hardly anyone around, and I went into a convenience store because there was this homicide, this murder had taken place. I went in to see if I could find, because I couldn't find where this place was. It was one of those, you go down that road until you hit the cornfield, and then you make a left, not the soybean field, but the cornfield, and you make a left, and then you make a right at the little house on the whatever. So I couldn't find this place. I stopped into this convenience store to ask, and it was like this old broken down shed of a convenience store, and I walked in to ask this guy where this place was, and it so turned out that this guy was the uncle of the guy who had been killed. And he lost it, and he pulled out this short barrel shotgun and pointed it right at me. And said, "You need to leave." And I looked out the window. My photographer was outside smoking a cigarette at the time, and he saw this. I looked out towards him to see where he was, because I wanted to run out of there. And I was trying to keep I was 22, 23 at the time, and I looked out the window. He sees this gun pointed at me, and his cigarette drops, and his jaw drops at the same time.
Wow.
And I just said, I put my hands up, and I said, "I didn't mean any harm. I'm out of here. Thank you very much." And I left, and back then we didn't have cell phones. And we just drove, and they're like, get us out of here. We just left, and then we found a payphone, and I called my boss, and I said, "I don't think we should be covering this anymore.
Yeah.
Please don't make me do this."
Well, I mean, that's something that people do have to have appreciation for. You guys, they have to go out in the field and cover some pretty nasty stories, and they don't realize that You know, a lot of times you're arriving there at the same time.
Can be quite volatile.
Yeah, volatile, and you have to deal with some
everything,
situations. So
Right.
wow, so, yeah.
I've said many times, I say, usually in our business, we meet people on the worst day of their lives, and that's very true many times.
Yeah, and by the way, I do have some slides that I pulled down to show our listeners. And by the way, this is obviously the noon hour, and we don't get very many listeners, but people always look at the video afterwards. So, yeah, this is one of you, and I'm just have these up while we're talking. So feel free to continue going up, and I'll just be paging through some.
So how did you get from Fargo to Chicago?
Okay, so Fargo was my first job. I was there just under 2 years. That's Berwin, by the way. He's the CEO of Urban Pooch Doggy Daycare, where I take my 2 dogs.
Nice.
All right, cool.
So from Fargo, I went to Madison. Oh, there's me and Tom, and one of the photographers I work with quite a bit, Hector Bencourt, at the Emmys a few years back.
Oh, wow.
So,
Cool.
So from Fargo, went to Madison. I was a general assignment reporter there for 2 years. Had every intention of staying there for another few years. And this news director from Rockford called me and said, hey, I live right on the border here of Wisconsin, right on the state line of Wisconsin and Illinois, and I see you reporting, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in being a morning anchor for us. And it just so happened I'd been talking to my boss about anchoring more, and she didn't have any opportunities for me, so I had this thing pretty much handed to me, and I got the job. And so I was in Rockford for about 2 years. And then from there, I got a job as weekend anchor in Richmond, Virginia, which I loved. One of my minor was history in college, so I loved the American history aspect of that. And so I was there for 2 years. My mom had battled breast cancer previous when I lived in Madison, and had beaten it, but it came back 5 years later. It just so happened that she was re-diagnosed when I first moved to Richmond. So a lot of my time when I was in Richmond, a lot of my vacation time was spent coming home and taking care of her and seeing her. And so at the end of my contract, my 2-year contract in Richmond, I said, I need to get home. So I took the one job that was available to me at the time, and that was CLTV. So I started at CLTV in March of 2007. My mom unfortunately passed away several months after I moved home.
So sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. It was, we were so close, and but about a year later, I started at WGN, and I haven't looked back.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm trying to remember when that was that I originally contacted you. I don't know if you were at CLTV or WGN when
I was at WGN. It was because I've been at WGN now just over 10 years now.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So we're going through some slides, and here I think this is you with the. Well, no.
Oh yeah, I was anchoring midday. I was filling in for Steve Sanders there, and then that's Dina Bear, and that's someone that was visiting us that day.
Wonderful.
Cool. And let's see what we have here. Oh, this is at the Republican convention. So
Oh yeah, when I was covering that 2 years ago, man, that was interesting. It was an honor for the station to ask me to cover that convention.
I can imagine.
I had never actually covered a convention, and it's funny. This picture is funny because this is Ryan Nobles, who now works for CNN. You'll see him on CNN frequently. But Ryan was actually, when I left Richmond, Virginia to move here, he was hired to replace me in Richmond.
Interesting.
And then he got the job with CNN just about 2 years ago, I guess. Or, no, about 3 years ago now. So he was in Richmond for several years covering politics there, and then he got hired on at CNN to cover stuff there.
Nice.
But
As
I
a
mean,
history guy, that's pretty cool to get to be a part of that convention there. I can imagine.
People at your age, they have to wait till they're in their 50s a lot of times before they get that opportunity. So,
right.
See it.
It was interesting to see the whole process unfold, and the number of, and as we've gone through the years and security has become what it has, I mean, you
Right.
have to get into this venue, you had to go through 4 different security stops
Shoosh.
in order to get in there. And one of them is to get onto a shuttle bus from a remote location, and then you're searched 2 more times before you get in.
Wow.
And that's a Thanksgiving parade. That's one of my favorite parades to be in Chicago, because everyone's so happy. It's just before Christmas. Everyone's getting into the holiday spirit. It's a straight shot right up State Street, and it's fun. Sometimes it's cold, but most of the time it's nice. People are out there, their families, they're happy, and it's a really nice parade. The other favorite parade in Chicago is the Pride Parade,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the crowd is so fun to. It's so fun to watch that parade from the perspective of being on the float.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you ever see a leprechaun running around, that's my son.
Oh, is that right?
He's got red hair. He's got a red beard. Oh, yeah. I think he still does that. So.
And how can you not have fun when you're with Bozo anyway?
Oh, I know, right?
Hello.
I mean, everyone. It's amazing because the younger people don't know Bozo. They
well,
know
that's
him from
a
parades and
travesty.
stuff.
I'm sorry, that's
I
a
know.
travesty.
It's amazing to think about it, though, that Bozo's been off the air now on WGN for 17 years.
Oh wow! I still remember as a kid, the bucket,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
grand
the
prize
grand
game,
grand
baby.
prize game,
You
and
know, it's fun because we still have that, and if you ask the stagehands really nicely, they'll go get it and set it up for you.
That's
wow.
awesome. Yeah, I can't believe no more Ray Rayner, no more Garfield Goose, no more
I
Bozo.
know. I
And
know.
this one looks like you're doing a food segment.
Oh, that would be probably the midday show, and yeah, we had a wine and cheese segment. I don't even know when that's from, but we had a wine and cheese segment. And it's all doing TV is fun because you have to keep on your toes, and when you're doing a live segment like that, anything can go wrong. And I think during one of these segments when we had wine, something like I got wine spilled all over me by
Oh
accident.
no.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was white wine and not red wine, so.
It was
You
a
know-
Chianti actually.
Oh no.
But it never is. When something spills, it's going to
gonna
be red.
red wine, that's
yeah,
right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And next thing you know, you
That's
got
why I wanna be the Anna Bellaball of Northwest Indiana, because I want to be able to go out and do all that. Or I jokingly call her Anna Billabong when I talk about her, but
Yeah, her and
I
Dean
want
were
I want
on
to do that
today.
job and go around to businesses and things. So
Oh,
Yeah.
Anna's great. Anna's absolutely wonderful.
oh, I
Yeah.
love her.
Dean made the mistake this morning of correcting her pronunciation of a word. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I think Dean was sorry for that afterwards.
Yes, I'm sure.
So yeah, that's a fun show. That's a fun show to watch. Yeah, the more here
Oh,
we go.
There,
Fun.
that's fun.
Yeah, this is you skydiving. It'll probably catch up in just a bit.
That was what an opportunity. This is one of the things that's so amazing about being a journalist in such an amazing city like Chicago is that we have stuff like the Air and Water Show. And I flew with the Breitling Air Team 3 years ago now, which was amazing to be in the plane and doing acrobatic stuff, and flying above the city like that. But last year, I got the chance to fly with the Golden Knights, the U.S. Army Golden Knights.
Wow.
parachute team. I had never, ever skydived before, and honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to. But I figured, if you're going to do something, and this was one of my bucket list things on, the maybe-do list, is skydive. And if you think about it, to be able to skydive is great. To be able to skydive with some of the world's best skydivers, I felt completely safe the whole time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
to be able to skydive and survive, that's even better.
And usually when you exactly, thank you. You get to talk about it afterwards. But usually when you do these skydiving things, it's out in a rural area because you can't skydive above a major metropolitan area for fear of where you might land.
Right.
Yeah.
But we got to land right on North Avenue Beach. Right on North Avenue Beach.
Wow, that's
That's
skilled.
phenomenal.
Yeah, that's skilled steering on the tethered person. Oh man. Oh.
I'm
My
quite
proudest
jelly.
moment was right there, by the way, because I did not fall when we landed on the beach.
Wow.
So it wasn't like James Coburn. And
Oh, James Corbin.
Yeah, but you both had the same expression on your face, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, well,
James
here's
Corden.
the thing, is that when you're free falling like that, it's 120 miles an hour, so you're getting an instant facelift as you hurl towards the earth.
Man. So, okay, so yeah, we're done with the slides now. Which I could have done. There, you've got some neat stuff up there. I guess that's one thing being an anchor and a reporter that your Facebook gets awfully full and of all things that you've done. So that's kind of neat. Why don't you take us through what it's like to be an on-air celebrity and
How that day
on-air talent
goes
from beginning of the day to the end of
Like
the
a
day.
day in the life? Yeah.
Yep, day in life of a reporter or an anchor.
I have a great mix at WGN in my current position because I anchor the weekend morning show, which has fewer moving parts than the weekday morning show, where there's like 50 people working on that one show for one time. We have about 10, and so I get to do that show. It's 2 hours from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. both weekend days, and then I usually go out and cover like a feature piece. So like good news of the day and something that's positive, because especially on the weekends, there's a lot of violence to cover, and we like to balance it out. And we have the time to do it on WGN because we have such a long newscast. And then, so my day usually wraps up around, I get in around 6:30 or so, or not 6:30, but 5:30 or so. And we go on the air at 7, and then I usually am out of there by about 3:30, depending on what I'm covering that day. On the weekdays, when I'm reporting, I go in at noon. And so I'm usually reporting for the 4, the 5, the 6, or a combination of those, and then I usually am doing a different story for the 9 o'clock news that night. So, I get in at noon, and they usually have already decided what I'm going to be doing for the early shows. I start making phone calls on that, starting to research and get the people lined up with whom I need to speak, like the experts on whatever area we're doing. Go out, talk with them, and formulate and write a package that will be put on the air, a news story that will be put on the air for later that night. And you do that on a tight deadline. You have about two and a half hours to put something together usually.
Now, a question I have, when you go out to report, well, first of all, is there someone that gives you the assignment, or do you bring the assignments?
Right. It's a combination of both. Like you, Bill, I get messages on Facebook all the time or an email about, hey, this is going on, or hey, could you help me with this? And very frequently, those stories I will talk to my producers about that, and they're like, yeah, make some calls, find out what's going on. And very often, those things will wind up on our air. We find out about stories a whole bunch of different ways. We get press releases, we get phone calls at the station, we get regular snail mail, we'll see something on Facebook or social media somewhere. We also have police scanners that are going constantly at the assignment desk.
Imagine.
And we hear things that are happening on those scanners, and we get sent out to those things. But typically we have several editorial meetings throughout the day. One of them's at 8 o'clock in the morning, and one of them's even earlier for like the morning show, and that usually happens around 3 a.m. or 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's a smaller one. There's another one at 8, another one at 11, and then another one at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then there's one that happens after that as well, around 5:36, to figure out what we're doing for the 9 o'clock news. So, and then in those meetings, you have reporters, anchors, the managers, producers, executive producer, all of them talking about what's happening and what's best to put our resources toward. And, any given day, there's so many things going on around the city and the area that you could cover, and you try to pick the thing that will be of most use and interest to the majority of people who will be watching the newscast.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we never see. So, another question I have, do you have like a dedicated camera or photog, as they're called in the biz?
Yeah, they're called photogs or shooters. Yeah. Sometimes they're called they shoot the video. So we... it's funny because we don't have a dedicated person necessarily with whom we work, but because of schedules being what they are, and they're usually fixed, that we'll frequently end up with the same photojournalists during our shifts, and that's just the way it works. And it's great that way, especially if you actually get along with them on both a personal and professional level, because there are certain things that happen out in the field where you need to know that that person has your back and you have theirs. And you
Like
can
the guy with the
communicate.
cigarette who knows he's keeping an eye on you.
Exactly. You need
Or-
to be able to communicate sometimes without even talking.
Exactly.
Or a cameraman will tell you you've got something left over on your lip from lunch before you go on.
Exactly. Hey,
That's important.
Your hair looks like your hair looks really, really bad. You might want to rethink that.
Yeah, they just shut the camera down on me and said, we need another reporter out here.
I've said so many times that those photographers, at least for TV, those photographers are 2/3 of what we do.
Yeah.
Because they're the eyes and the ears,
Right.
and I'm just the voice. So without the photographers, we have radio.
That's true. And our photog is looking kind of skinny right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're worried about the guy. We're
just
trying to
have
get him to
We
eat
have a
more.
camera on a stick. That's our photographer.
Yeah.
He's
web-
just a,
Yeah, again, if you've got to step into our world sometime, and you'll just be extremely shocked. We got a pretty decent microphone.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
you do, and I like your set too. It's very
Isn't it?
like down
Your
home.
set designer.
It is.
Yep.
You know.
Nice couch.
Here at SIP.
I know Larry Potash is going to see this and saying, "I want that set."
That's right. He's going to be jealous.
By the way,
He
you
and
need
Robin.
to tell him to quit imitating me.
Well, whatever Larry wants, Larry gets. You know
That- I'm
that. And he's the
sure.
king of
I
morning
knew
news.
it.
Hello.
I knew it.
I'm
I
sure.
suspected that, but
I have to say, I've told Bill many times, I love WGN News because you guys present the news, and so you know what's going on, but yet at the same time, there's also levity and just a genuine caring that comes across on camera, that everybody's
Right.
having fun. There's some fun. It's not all serious. It's not all doomsday. It's not hell and brimfire.
Well-
It's just a really great combination of really good things going on in the area, and then the news that you have to know.
Yeah, hey, let's put it this way. At least from our perspective, because when we sit there and watch it together, it is probably one of the most entertaining news shows I've ever seen. I mean,
all of them are.
And they just break down.
Everybody seems to get along. Everybody seems to care about each other genuinely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You know, and you got to give credit to our news director, Jennifer Lyons, for that. She has worked at the station. She started as a news writer and then producer, and then she executive produced the morning show for years, and then she was assistant news director, and now she's news director. She's our big boss.
Yeah.
And she really, she fosters that camaraderie within us. And she's just such, she's an amazing person on a personal level, where you trust her, and that's really good, and that sets up all of us for being able to succeed in our own way.
Oh, there's times when we're rolling over, literally, especially when they read off the text from the listeners and the viewers. Oh my God!
You should see the ones that don't get on.
I can only
see some of those.
imagine.
I know, because I sent some of those, and hold it. Why aren't they going to ask when someone to come up and lick Larry? Yeah, they showed a video of Hans on ABC, and someone came up to him during reporting and licked him.
Yeah.
And I sent a text in that says, "When is someone going to come up and lick Larry on the set?"
Yeah, that was like Lollapalooza, one of Dan's first years on the air in Chicago, and he was at Lollapalooza, I believe, and someone came up and gave him a big old smack with the lips right on the cheek.
Oh,
Yeah, it
fun.
just licked. It looked like she's come
Oh,
up
she
to kiss
licked
him,
him,
but she licked him.
And his response was, "I remember my first beer."
You know, you guys have it rough. You go through it. You go out on site. Your lives are in danger, but then you have someone come up and lick you. That's
Yeah. You know, there are some hilarious moments in our job, and then there are some scary moments, and there are just heartbreaking moments. It's you know, to be in this business, it's not easy. And most people see, you know, and I give them credit, they see 2 minutes of our day. That's it. And then the rest of the time we are dealing with our own stuff and trying to get our stories together and dealing with deadlines and emails and calls and social media stuff. But you know, when you're on the air in those 2 minutes and something happens live on the air, you just got to roll with it.
Yep. We know. We've been there.
That's right.
Yeah. This is my producer. Yeah.
Basically.
She calls me out right in the middle of everything. Yeah.
But I get to do it on camera right there and tell everybody, like, Bill,
Yeah.
no.
I bet
That's the best
Robin.
kind of producer
I
to
bet
have.
Robin will never do this to Larry. There you go. If they do, I
We
want
want
to
to
see
see
that.
it. Yeah. But he
Boy.
does do this. Shuttlecock. He did that really well.
Oh yeah, that was a
That
text.
was
Someone
hilarious. Somebody wanted him to.
he did it in his anchor voice.
That's right. Shuttlecock.
Oh boy. So let's talk about some other things. Obviously everyone has aspirations and want to. What is your dream? I mean, are you doing what you want to do? Is there? I mean,
You know, anytime you get to do what, you know, I didn't even realize this, but I was 7 years old when I said I wanted to be a TV reporter. And the way I know that for sure is that when my mom passed away, and I was going through all of her papers, and she saved so much of my childhood. I didn't even know it until I was going through all these things. And there's a piece of paper from when I was in second grade, and it was a handwriting assignment. Remember those wide ruled papers that you do handwriting assignments on?
That's right.
So I have in my best block letters or whatever they're called, I said when I grow up I want to be, and it's a TV reporter.
So you're living the dream, baby.
I'm living my 7-year-old's dream, and how many people get to say that? I'm so fortunate, and just to be working in the business is great. To be working in a major market is wonderful, and to be working at such a great station is wonderful. And there are other opportunities that arise, and you look at them, and then you weigh your life and say, you know, this is a pretty good gig that I have, and I'm fortunate to have it, and you know, and they're lucky to have me, and and then you get brought back down to earth. But you know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a network news correspondent, and then you realize as you get older and into the business that being a network news correspondent, that becomes your life.
Yeah.
And they basically have you, and that's it. You can be called out anytime for any amount of time, and you can be gone from home for 2 weeks. And you know, you can do that, and that's a great way to live your life. It's just not the way I want to live my life. So I want to stick. I would be happy as a clam to be in Chicago for another 20 years.
well, you know, you're with the company, the Tribune Company and WGN. That you could have an aspiration to go on to be with and WGN in a sense is a major network. When I was in Australia, I saw WGN.
I've lived all over the country, and I've always gotten to watch WGN and see my
through
Cubbies
cable.
play.
So people from all over the world are watching you. So I mean, it is a great and you know, one of the things, especially in this day where depending on what side of the political environment you fall, you get criticized. But one thing that I've got to tell you about WGN and the Tribune Company, I think is behind this, is they remain so objective about the reporting. You know, they don't get they report. It's like what I was brought up when I was a kid, when I'm listening to Walter Cronkite, and you know, they don't express their opinions. They tell the news the way it is. Now, the morning crew does it in a comedic sense, and I really get a kick out of they spin it out. But it's great. And that's why we're big fans of WGN because it's objective reporting and just the quality of the reporting is phenomenal. You know, that's why we keep the dial unless we want to watch a late show.
Right.
We keep it on WGN. So
you know you're doing something right. We say this in the business. Well, you know this when you're doing something right on the money. You're getting complaints from, especially with a political story, you're getting complaints from both sides about the same story.
Well, to be honest with you, I think everyone's tuning in to watch Tom Skilling.
Oh, you know what? If you look at the ratings at 9:30 when his main weather show is on, the ratings go up. You see the numbers. You see the numbers go up, which is, when you've been in the market for 40 years at one station.
Phenomenal. I mean,
That
he's. I still remember him with some of the other weathermen that have gone on and retired, and some have passed away. Tom's still at it. He's still kicking it.
He's great.
And, so.
And he hasn't slowed down. I mean, the man, he will be up on the weekends. He'll be up early. He's pulling down all of these numbers to formulate his own forecast. And he does all these posts on Facebook. And he's just, I mean, he works. That's his life, and he loves it. He loves it,
and that's
Yep,
the
and
difference. When you love it, it's not work.
And he's nationally recognized in his profession.
Yes, he is.
And actually, I'll share something with you. If you want to take this back to him, you are more. You as a kid wanted to be a TV reporter. I wanted to be Tom Skilling.
Yeah, you did. He wanted to
Seriously,
be a weatherman.
my parents come in, or as actually as my dad said, no, you'll never make any money going to environmental science. And yeah. So I got my dreams bashed, but I still do it. In fact, before you came on, I did a weather segment. Yeah, don't show Tom.
He does weather every morning on our Facebook page, and he always does the weather live from SIP.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Something actually I started when I was a kid. I just love weather. Used to run outside when it was storming, and my parents just drove my parents up the wall. But it just fascinated me. And, I used to go to the library and read about weather and what made weather change and so on. Yeah, but don't tell Tom that, because he'll look at one of my weather reports and, that guy's just got to stop. He's doing it wrong.
Maybe he'll have some pointers for you, but I bet you he would love what you did.
Yeah, I have fun doing it, and it may be wrong, but I have fun doing it. And actually, I know a weather person that Tom inspired to. Actually, he was a radio personality, and I've had him on the show once, and actually he came out to Valparaiso, Ed Curran, and
Ed, yeah.
Actually, Tom, if I've got the story correctly, actually inspired Ed to become a meteorologist, and at that point,
from his radio days, yeah,
right, and he went to Columbia College for communication, and Tom gave him a small what he needed to do to get into meteorology, and he did it, and now, actually they have very similar personalities.
They do. They're both really nice guys.
Yeah. And
Ed's great. I've met him several times.
Yeah.
He is I agree. I mean, they're both wonderful guys, and they're very generous with their time too.
Yeah.
Gosh. In fact, it's too bad that Ed isn't at WGN. That would be one heck of a team.
That would.
So
another question is, what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not on the air?
Oh God, and I love cooking. I love to cook. I find it relaxing. And I like to. I'm with my dogs a lot. I go walking around the neighborhood. I like to see movies. I like to work out, and I like to connect with friends and just go out and hang out with them. And part of being a journalist, you're kind of a sociologist too. So you like to study
people.
You like to study your fellow human beings.
Right.
And it's just I love having my friends and my family, and I'm very close to all of them. And so I would say that those would be cooking, traveling, the dogs, volunteering. I volunteer my time with and MC several things for different nonprofits, and then working out. I go to the gym and I used to find it to be a chore, and now I find it to be a habit.
Yeah, I almost used one of those pictures of you working out. That selfie of you just like drenched in sweat. So, I think it's too personal. I won't do it. So.
Oh God,
do you like
whatever.
to grill?
I mean, we all sweat.
Do you like grilling as well as cooking?
Oh yeah, we have a grill out on the balcony, and I love grilling. You know, it just
Maybe you can
I have
help
this,
Anna.
Oh God, is she having problems with
Well,
her?
she was
Yeah.
at the Weber Grill restaurant, and they were doing grilling classes today, and she said she had never grilled before in her life, and she was having some issues. So maybe you should help her out.
Well, I could always volunteer my services. You know, as a Wisconsinite, we like to grill, especially bratwursts.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Some cheesy bratwurst sounds awesome.
Now I do have to ask you, Sean. You are a Packers fan, right?
You know what? Here's the thing about Kenosha, is that it is 50-50 there. Bears, Packers.
Okay.
I kid you not. And when the Bears went to the Super Bowl in '85, I grew up a Packers fan. I still am. But I was rooting for the Bears.
We're going to end the interview right. Oh. I almost hit the mute button.
Yeah, right?
Hey,
Did
he was
you
doing
have
the
a
Super Bowl
cough button
shuffle
there?
with us, so.
Yeah.
So, I'm a Packers fan. I grew up that way. I think being born in Sheboygan, which is about 45 minutes south of Green Bay,
Right.
they actually put it into your bloodstream when you're born. So I don't think you have a choice.
You get the infusion right there at the hospital.
Exactly. So I think growing up in Kenosha, though, I have an appreciation and an admiration for Bears fans because, you know, like the Packers in the 80s were just terrible. Why I was a Packers fan when I was growing up,
Can you
I have
repeat
no
that
idea.
again?
The Packers were terrible. Yeah, Lindy Infante wasn't the best coach. Let's just put it there.
We've got that captured. We're going to use that.
So, but, you know, being in Chicago, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, and I became that in '84.
Yeah, you, I like them.
I was watching WGN all summer that summer for some reason, and that was when they were really good that summer. And I really, for some reason, my loyalties were with the Brewers when I was a little boy, and then it became about the Cubs. And ever since then, I've been Cubs and Packers. And I found that combination to be true many, many times. People are Packers fans and Cubs fans,
You know,
which I find interesting.
my theory is everyone is a Cubs fan. They just don't want to admit it.
That could be.
Even
I think that could be very true.
even those
Sox
Southsiders,
fans.
those
I was
knuckle-dragging
going to say, if you go to Mount
Southsiders.
Greenwood or Beverly, you might find some people that might not be so compatible with the train of thoughts.
It's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. You know, when they won the World Series, everyone was a Cubs fan. Yeah, even
Oh, yeah.
people that never watched the Cubs were Cubs fans.
Well, I heard you saying you like to travel, and as a
I
travel
do.
agent myself, where are your favorite places that you've been?
Oh, you know, I've been to so many places now that I never dreamed I would be able to go to. We went to my cousin. My uncle married in Australia. They live in Australia. They live in Perth. And the first time I ever went there was 5 years ago for my cousin's wedding. So I went to my cousin's wedding, but we flew from O'Hare to Seoul, and Seoul to Bangkok, and spent some time in Bangkok, and then flew to Perth and spent time in Perth for the wedding, and then flew to Sydney. So I've been to Sydney. We spent like 3 days there, and then flew back to Seoul, and I spent 2 days in Seoul, and then flew back to Chicago.
Okay.
And so I've been there. That was my kind of my Pacific Asia trip that I've done.
Okay.
And then the trip of a lifetime was a couple of years ago. I went to Bora Bora.
Oh.
Never thought I'd go there.
That's
Wow.
on my bucket list.
Oh God, it was so amazing and so relaxing. You know, there's nothing to do except for just be.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys
that
are.
sounds phenomenal.
And
Yeah, you guys
then,
are getting me jealous here.
Been to the United Kingdom, been to London and to like the south of the United Kingdom, and then have taken actually transatlantic crossing on the Queen Mary 2.
Oh, that's another one of those dream things.
Man,
That's
you are
Which is
well traveled.
But it's so sometimes you get these deals, and to be on the Queen Mary 2 is amazing.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Been to the Caribbean, been to the British Virgin Islands, and to the Bahamas. I've been to 48 of the 50 states. If you can guess the two that I haven't been to, I'll give you a silver star.
I'm afraid to guess. The only one I haven't been to is Alaska, and I'm going there next summer. But
Oh, Alaska's amazing. Alaska is
That's-
beautiful.
that's yeah.
You know, Tom had, when I first met Tom, and he said, "Have you ever been to Alaska?" And I said, "No." And he had a place up there at the time, and said he had a little condo in Girdwood,
Oh, wow.
Alaska, which he talks about. And he said, "You need to come up." So we went up, and it was. I will tell you, you can look at 5 million pictures of Alaska, and you don't understand the beauty and the scale of it until you're right there in it.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
We're gonna be
about-
doing
yeah,
that.
we're doing that next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, we'll do
You'll
it
love
live.
it.
We'll do a show live from our
Well, we
cruise.
should.
Yeah. Oh,
They have the internet in Alaska now, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
They do.
I know, it's crazy. You can be on the internet and look
You
at
know,
Russia from your backyard all at the same time.
I saw people browsing the internet in their igloos.
Wow, that's
Pretty cool.
You know, it's
Yeah.
amazing what technology can do nowadays.
Yeah.
nowadays.
Right. They even have refrigerators in
So what are
their
the 2 states that you have not been to? Because
Yeah.
there's no way I can guess.
So Utah
Okay.
is one, and then Maine is the other.
Maine. That you
Maine.
need to get up there too.
I have a couple of friends from Maine, and they extol the virtues of Maine, and I should go to Maine and visit with their families, and that's what I shall do one day.
Good.
So what is the one place that you haven't been? Where is it that you want to go?
I would love to go to Africa.
Any
And I want to go to
specific
Egypt.
part?
I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to South Africa. I want to. You know, it's so weird because I did one of those DNA things through
Okay.
Ancestry.com
Yeah, me
a
too.
few
Me
years
too.
back.
Yeah.
And I don't understand if it's accurate, but one of the places they had my DNA was Ethiopia.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I would love to just go there and try to find some family.
That sounds very cool. I'm less than 1% finished, so that's on my list too of places I want
Yeah.
to go because I want to know how that less than 1% finish came in.
Yeah, I've got to do that shit. I really do. Oh boy, it's so. I hope we're okay. Huh? Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, our control booth
Technical
is our
difficulties.
control booth is alerting us of a problem with our cameraman. So
Well, you better give him a sandwich because he is thin.
Yeah, he is very thin.
yeah, he's looking pretty thin. Yeah,
Yeah, buy him a
I guess
sandwich.
he's trying to get in front of the camera. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all trying to do that. So gosh, I think. Man, this has been great, Sean.
Oh, I know.
This
Thank
has
you
been,
so much.
Yeah, we want to thank you so much. Yeah, I know you guys are busy and going out. Now, let's tell people when you are anchoring, and you really, I mean, you don't know when you're going to be reporting because you don't know what's going to happen. So, when is
usually, well, okay, so I anchor. I am the weekend morning anchor right now, and that is 7 to 9 a.m. Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And my co-anchor is the lovely and talented and very smart Tanya Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
And then Mike Hammernick is our weather guy. But when he's off, we'd be happy to have you in, Bill. And
There we go.
that's you're in WGN. And,
do I have
and
to interview with Tom?
You know what? I think you're in. You know what? I'll give you a thumbs up, and
Good.
you'll be okay with that.
Can I do an Annabelle Vol
Can I
segment?
do my?
We would love you to do. You know, we have our own version of around town on the weekends. It's called Weekend Break.
Okay.
So yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I'm in.
Oh boy.
And then let's see. And then I report. I'm usually on Mondays and Tuesdays, and you'll find me anywhere like the 4, the 5, or the 6, and then the 9 o'clock news.
Yeah, we saw you the other night when we were watching.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, that was one thing that I saw you reporting that was, well, it was scary. It was about that sexual assault.
Oh,
at
the sexual assault at Wrigley during the Foo Fighters concert.
Foo Fighters concert, and yeah, have they gotten any leads on that yet?
They had a picture.
You know what?
of
I haven't.
the
I've been
guy.
off for the last 2 days, so I haven't checked. But they were able to get a security camera still
Picture, yeah.
of,
I showed that
of
the
the
other
suspect
day.
that they're looking for. So
You know,
that's an
He had on
interesting
a gray
question.
hoodie, and then he had taken it off, and he was wearing a green shirt. I remember that.
I just can't
Right.
imagine the blatant.
I'm still worried
just-
about the guy who bit off somebody's ear.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
know. I just saw that.
Crazy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, that story actually changed as it was going on this morning.
'Cause they thought
First,
he-
Larry reported that someone got their ear cut off coming out of the Art
Because
Institute.
I don't think anybody could understand me. They probably thought it was a typo. Like, nobody could have just eaten the ear off or
Yeah.
bitten it off.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see Larry's reaction. And oh gosh, she was subbing for Robin. I can't think of her name right now. Anyway,
Was it Sarah?
no, it is the Chicago
Really
Bears
beautiful
daughter.
African-American girl.
Oh, Lauren Jiggets, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Lauren Jiggets. Yes.
She is so tall. She is as
she?
tall
She
as I
looks
am,
tall.
and
Yeah.
I'm 6'1".
Her dad was not exactly short. I mean, he was a big
Dad,
guy.
Dad is a big guy. He is a
Oh.
big guy, and he is like a big teddy bear. He is so nice.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen much of him. He used to do some Bears commentary, but not so much anymore. I wonder. He must just
You know,
be.
when you get to a certain age, you just kind of want to slow down.
Yeah,
That sounds nice.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Well, yeah. Gosh, maybe let's stop by the WGN studio. Do they have tours at the studio?
Yeah. Sometimes we don't have any like formal tours, but sometimes there are tour groups that come through. Especially if you're a Boy Scout or Girl Scout troop, then we get you in.
I was a Girl Scout for 22 years, so you can get me
There
in.
you go.
I'm actually
you
going
go.
to my Girl Scout Camp Tacana reunion this weekend in Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, I was a Girl Scout mascot. My aunt was a Girl Scout leader.
Perfect.
And I would go to the meetings, and I was 3 or 4 years old at the time, and the girls made me their mascot,
Oh, that's wonderful.
which
I
is
knew
why
I
I'm a Girl
liked you
Scout
even
cookies to
more
this day.
now.
Yeah, we like Sean.
Yeah,
you've
we
got
do.
some fans out here, Sean. So we.
And I love Highland too. Oh, you guys are in a coffee shop. We're working on a story. I'm working on a story right now with my producer Stacy, and we are working on the story about small batch coffee, micro roasteries.
Small town coffee here
Yeah.
in the Highland.
And it's about it. You know, all of these. It's like micro brewers for beer. Now it's gotten into micro roasteries where you have like this influx of all of these small batch coffee roasters throughout the city. So we're going to be doing a story on that.
You need
coming
to
up the
do
next
Small
few
Town
weeks.
Coffee. Annette and Elizabeth, they are amazing. Two girls. They have their offices in Highland, but they do their roasting right now until they get their own place out of Windmill Brewing in Dyer. They do amazing coffee. I subscribe to their coffee. It's fantastic.
Well, then next time I'm doing a story in Northwest Indiana, I'm there.
Good.
Well, Sean, the other
Yeah.
thing, you like the Bill and Kelly, and we're surprised you didn't do that years ago, but we won't go there, Sean. But nonetheless, we are doing a show next Tuesday from Byway Brewery in Hammond, just off of Kennedy Avenue, right off the expressway. And what we're doing, we're having a roundtable discussion with coffee shops in the area, because that's something else that has kind of blossomed in the region, if you will. So we have 3 of our friends who own coffee shops in the area: Fluid Coffee Bar in Valparaiso, and Grindhouse in Griffith,
and then Sip here
and
in
our
Highland
friends
and
here
Crown
that
Point.
are, as I like to call them, the Bill and Kelly Studio. So they will be there, along with
The
someone
girls from
repre-
Small
the,
Town?
the girls from Small Town. They're a local roaster, coffee roaster, and then also brewery. Interesting conversation we're going to have. There's a lot of collaboration going on between the roasters and the brewers, the craft brewery.
These amazing
And so we're going to be
beer
talking about
and
that. and,
coffee infused drinks that are so good.
So, yeah, if you want to tune into it, you're more than welcome to use it for material.
I'll be working, but obviously I can tune in on Facebook.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
it's on YouTube. We'll upload the video on YouTube. So yeah. By all means, if you want to get some material, if we can provide. Gosh, we're going to provide material to WGN.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Next thing you know, Tom Skilling will be using my weather data.
That's true. I want to know how many inches of rain we got at our house.
I
in
could hear
Highland.
Tom calling out, Bill, what do you think about this?
Bill's
Tom?
a great guy. Bill Snyder, his producer, they've been working together for the last 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
And Bill is he's so nice. And he is a big fan of hot weather. He loves Arizona hot weather.
Well, this isn't going to be...
Yeah, this will be hot, but we got the humid going too. So this weekend
Yeah.
won't be so
It's
fun.
going to
but-
be moist.
Ugh, that word.
She loves when I use that there, Mike.
That's a bad word unless you're talking about cake.
Well, weather, cake, same thing. I don't know. So,
Exactly.
well, listen, we know that you're a busy guy, and
Thank you
so
so
we're going to
much,
wrap
Sean.
this up. But
Holy
gosh,
cow, it's been an hour. That was a fast hour, you
Yeah,
guys.
almost an hour, you guys.
yeah, we try to make folks feel at home, and that's what this is.
Just
It's
fun chatting
totally
with our buddies.
unscripted. Actually, Batman was here.
I know.
And you know what? Oh, gosh, Matt Damon's going to have to come back again.
I know. Once again.
Sorry, Matt.
Bye.
He's
Maybe next
upset.
time. I know he is. But
Oh, he brought Ben with him.
maybe next time.
We had Sean Lewis. Really? Seriously?
Really,
I
we
mean,
had the best.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate it. Maybe we could do this sometime in the future.
Yeah,
Who
we'd
knows?
love that.
That'd be great. Just let me know.
Thanks,
And
Sean.
listen, I appreciate your time. And gosh, do they tell on-air people to break a leg when they go on?
Not usually.
No, that's just a theater thing.
No, yeah, it's a theater thing.
I don't know.
It's totally, for TV news folks, it's just like, go, do it now,
Yeah,
go now.
And if you break your
Yeah.
leg, get it on camera.
Comb your
Like,
hair
get
and
it
get
on
out
camera.
there.
We'll put it on the air.
Yeah,
Here,
exactly.
here, put some powder on your nose and get out
That's
there.
right. Rub some dirt in it. It's good.
All right, with that, listen, we will let you go. We do appreciate this.
Thank
and,
you so much.
Yeah, good luck to you and your career. And boy, you got 2 fans here in Northwest
Big
Indiana.
time.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You have a fan here in Chicago.
Thank you. And with that, we will wish everyone a safe week and a weekend coming up. It's going to be warm and sticky.
Yeah, sticky.
Sticky.
Good word.
So, and again, thanks again, Sean. We hope we run into you sometime soon.
All right, you guys take care.
Thanks.
You too.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.